Kia ora, nau mai ki te whiri. Welcome to The House, ko Louis Collins aho. Unless you live under a rock, you'll know that the government delivered its budget yesterday. It's one of those set-piece events at Parliament which has a number of conventions attached to it. For instance, the big speech from the Minister of Finance, fiery responses from the opposition leaders, the media lock-up, and, most importantly, sausage rolls. Another convention, which is somewhat less theatrical, is budget urgency. The budget debate on Thursday heard speeches from Finance Minister Nicola Willis, Leader of the Opposition Chris Hipkins, Prime Minister Christopher Luxon, Greens co-leader Chloe Swarbrick, ACT leader David Seymour, New Zealand First Deputy Leader Shane Jones, and Te Pāti Māori MP Taku Te Whereas. After that, the Leader of the House Chris Bishop adjourned the debate with just under 6 hours remaining. He accorded urgency to a range of budget-related and non-budget-related bills. Now, strap in, because there are a lot, 12 bills and 30 readings or committee stages.
I move that urgency be accorded the first reading of the Appropriation 2024-5 Supplementary Estimates Bill, the introduction and passing through all stages of the Taxation Budget Measures Bill number 2, the first reading and referral to Select Committee of the Regulatory Standards Bill, the introduction, first reading and referral to a Select Committee of the Building and Construction Small Standalone Dwellings Amendment Bill, the introduction and passing through all stages of the Social Assistance Legislation, Accommodation Supplement and Income-Related Rent Amendment Bill, the Social Security Mandatory Reviews Amendment Bill, the Invest New Zealand Bill, the Rates Rebate Amendment Bill and the Patents Amendment Bill, the introduction, first reading and referral to a Select Committee of the Public Finance Amendment Bill, the Judicature Timeliness Legislation Amendment Bill and the Legal Services Distribution of Special Fund Amendment Bill.
Now, it's pretty much routine for governments to adjourn the debate once all the parties have had at least one call. Some of these bills, like the Taxation Budget Measures Bill number 2, receive urgency in accordance with the announcement made by Willis in his speech.
Mr Speaker, this bill contains 3 tax measures announced in Budget 2025. The new Investment Boost tax incentive to grow our economy. Changes to KiwiSaver settings to encourage New Zealanders to save more for their first home or their retirement. And changes to Working for Families to better target the scheme at low to middle income families. The reason for it being called a number 2 bill is simply because a bill of the same name was introduced after Budget 2024.
Other non-budget bills are given urgency for various reasons, as explained by Bishop yesterday.
The Regulatory Standards Bill is being sent to a Select Committee for further consideration. The Building and Construction Bill gives effect to the government's commitments around granny flats and will go to a Select Committee for further consideration and as part of the growth agenda of the government.
Urgency must wrap up by midnight Saturday, and considering the amount of business to get through, it's likely that government MPs will take pretty short calls to speak during readings, especially if the bills aren't that contentious. One bill that is contentious, though, is David Seymour's Regulatory Standards Bill, which seeks to reduce over-restrictive regulation. The House eventually got to that bill's first reading on Friday after a long and drawn-out committee stage of that taxation bill I mentioned earlier, which took up most of Thursday night and Friday morning. Here's Seymour explaining what his Regulatory Standards Bill does.
In a nutshell, if red tape and regulation is holding New Zealand back because politicians find it politically rewarding to tie them in red tape, then we need to make regulating less rewarding for politicians by putting more sunlight on their activities. That is how the Regulatory Standards Bill will help New Zealand get its mojo back. This bill turns the explanation from politicians, because we said so, into because here is the justification according to a set of principles. And to the rest of my colleagues across the House, if you want to tax someone, take their property, restrict their livelihood, you can, but you'll actually have to show why it's in the public interest. The bill demands you show you're working.
And here's what the opposition thought of it.
What are the values that underpin this bill? What are the values that David Seymour wants to bake in to our Constitution as if it was the Public Finance Act? Property, individual rights, freedoms, equality, limited levies and taxation, costs and benefits. Just one thing, there is no cost-benefit analysis of this bill. The stupidity of a bill pitching for costs and benefits when it can't prove its own cost or benefit is just outrageous. So that's what the bill says. What doesn't it say? What's the bill silent on? What about our fundamental constitutional principles and values? Does it mention the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act? No. Does it mention the Treaty of Waitangi? No. It's entirely silent on whether a good lawmaking process is consistent with the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi. Does it mention privacy? No. Does it mention discrimination against minorities? No. Does it mention international obligations? No.
I te whakarongo koe ki te whare. You've been listening to The House, a program made with funding from Parliament's Office of the Clerk. Matua.